Everybody, Larry and Al again, number 40 already. Larry and Al, Search for Truth. And again, as you can see, we have lovely Brenda next to us here today. And episode 39, we got to hear about her passion for sports and athleticism and track and just the kind of competitor that she is. But off camera, she shared with us a little bit about her big passion that she had that she really wanted to have a chance to talk about. So we're going to let her take the lead here and talk about her passion.
Yeah, what I wanted to talk about or add to it just for conversation, and maybe some might be interested, is that I belong to a Friendship Baptist Church, which is located in Yorba Linda, and it's a predominantly black church and a predominantly white environment, which makes us unique. But we do outreach to the community as a whole, I particularly, I'm a deaconess, and I preside over, or I'm involved with the baptism of candidates and getting them all prepared for baptism, and also communion. And I do outreach with a group of people to one of the local rest homes called Beach Creek, which is located in Buena Park. We do that on third Sunday, and we call ourselves doing a little miniature or minimized service where we have songs and scriptures and some word from the Lord, and we move on from there. And the one of the things that I get out of going to Beach Creek and looking at these the elderly people that we serve is that they just light up. And when we sing songs, there's only a few people that can sing, and I'm not one of them. But all of us just sing the hymns to the fullest, and it just is for me being giver of this and seeing the individuals there light up. And when I say light up, there's just a lightness that comes over them, and they're just so happy that A, they got visitors, and B, they're worshiping the Lord. So I just really wanted to kind of throw that in there. And when I say that, I wanted to go back to my church. Like I said, it's Friendship Baptist Church. Our logo is where Christ is magnified individually and collectively as a unit. So what that means to me is that, yeah, we have the church that we go to, but we also have a self-ministry that we can all involve ourselves into, whether it's in our own communities or it's at a prescribed outreach. I remember one of the greatest joys that I used to have was when I worked for the outreach, and we were able to give dinners and foods to the homeless and the sick and shut in. And we also collected clothing, and right now they built a trailer on the outside of just on our church grounds that does the distribution of food on every Tuesday and clothing on every Tuesday. So I say that if you know someone that's in need, to come by on Tuesday. I believe it starts at 9 o'clock and closes at 11 o'clock, so there's a small window. But nonetheless, come by. All the food is donated. Everything is free. There's no stigma or anything about it. So I just wanted to bring that in. Plus, I've been a member of Friendship Baptist Church for over 37 years. Markel, our three daughters, Markel, Terry, and Kim, all grew up at Friendship Baptist Church, being part of the youth ministry and going to summer camps with them, and just the whole 9 yards. I'm saying this out because I'm promoting Friendship Baptist Church, but I'm just sharing how much we as a family have gotten out of Friendship Baptist Church. You know, and every Mother's Day, I'm proud to sit there in the congregation with my daughters that flew in for Mother's Day with me.
Wow.
and all of that, and I participate in all of in a lot of the outreach, and in terms we did trunk or treat, and I put my car in there, did trunk or treat, and the neighborhood kids came by and picked up their candies there, which I thought was a pretty good idea because A, the parents know where the candy came from, and B, there was activities for the kids, so everybody just really had a good time. They had they had a sweet potato pie contest. Whoever made the best sweet potato, got a little award, and they had a photo booth and stuff like that. But I just wanted to throw that in there, that there is Friendship Baptist Church. Our desire is for it to be more of an integrated, as opposed to being known as a black church in Yorba Linda, and that is happening slowly but surely. We have others of other nationalities coming in and joining the church and getting involved and enjoying themselves. So that's really what the ultimate goal is to just have a lot of people with the commonality of worshiping the Lord. So I just wanted to to add that on. I'm not. If you guys have questions, you can ask me, but that's pretty much it.
Well, where is it located? What's the address?
1765 Baston Cherry in Yorba Linda. Baston Cherry Road in
Right down the street.
Right down the street.
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
Go up to Basket Cherry, turn left, and you can't miss it.
You can't miss it. There's across the street a Mormons Church, immediately across the street in their building, and on the opposite side of the street is Friendship Baptist Church, and we're building a new sanctuary as well as a youth center. For the youth to play basketball and whatever they do, volleyball, whatever they do at the center and stuff like that.
Get the youth involved.
Yeah. Because one of the things, I've been a member for 37 years. I started off when I was 37, and now I'm 75. And our pastor says we need to get younger.
Yeah. It is hard to attract youth.
Yeah,
because there's no tradition. Yeah, there's no tradition.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to put a plug in for something else that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about track and field, and also passionate about friendship.
You've talked often in our podcast about your faith and
I go.
You have that in common, the two of you. Then.
Yeah, I go online, and the church I go to is one of my youngest daughter goes to in Austin, Texas, called Mosaic, and it's a multicultural, multi-ethnic denomination. And the ironic, the pastor is parents are went to school with Brenda, in Santa Ana, and he's a really strong man of faith, and I go online every Sunday morning.
Yeah, Kimberly, my daughter, is very active. She actually she runs the audio visual for them. Back there, she's doing that, and when she's not doing audio visual, she's answering, the online questions in the chat room and stuff like that. So I guess some of that, all the kids get involved.
The key thing is everybody is faith based, and they're going about it in their own way, and that's the most important thing.
Right. Yeah.
You can't tell grown folks what to do, and you can't make them go this direction or that direction. They have to be able to go on their own, and they see a foundation. Like I said, our children, whatever they saw in their mother and me, it was whatever was good. They've taken the good out.
They've taken the good. Yeah. Again, something you both should be very proud of.
Oh yeah.
Because we've talked often about your girls, and well, they're not really girls, but they're
young ladies
that have, at this particular point,
that have reached high heights and overcome a lot, and really done. Well, it's interesting you mentioned about Mosaic. That's the name of the church, and so when I first got here today, I said talk a little bit about Jimmy Carter, and the passing of Jimmy Carter. And there was a quote I wrote down from him, and it is about Mosaic. He says, "We become not a melting pot, but a beautiful mosaic. Different people, different beliefs, different yearnings, different hopes, different dreams." And I thought that's kind of like what he he stood for in his.
He stood for it, but you got to remember how long ago was that?
Well, it was 1970.
And now there's a whole different mindset with the MAGA thing, and
it wouldn't be nice. I'm sorry.
What?
I can't comment on any of that because I don't have anything.
No, but we're doing a podcast.
I'm sorry.
But what I'm saying is that there still is a faction of people that still think integrity and honesty is part of what this country is made of. And one of the things one of the things I know that in life, good always overtakes evil. And people that really believe, not the MAGA religion people that believe in whatever, but the people that live faith-based and live on the day-to-day about how to treat one another, to take care of one another, like Brenda does in her life. All the things that she does in her church. She's giving.
That's what I got from it.
Yeah, and those and no matter what happens, as long as we still have people that will give and help those who are less fortunate, we're gonna be okay. Okay, because that's the way the scriptures and that's how Jesus lived his life. Even though he was persecuted, he still gave, and that's an important thing.
Well, I just found it ironic. I mean, you're right, Brenda, about necessarily getting into the politics and into the weeds of it all. But I just found it ironic that we have this passing of this president who really is so underestimated and what he
all his life
and how progressive he was. I mean, just for example, I mean he moved into the White House and he immediately put solar panels on the White House, on the roof back in '76. And then, of course, when he was defeated and Ronald Reagan came in, the first thing Ronald Reagan did was take him down, and tear him down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just an example. But the irony to me is that we have him on his way out, his passing, and we have something coming in that is just the total opposite.
Yeah.
180.
Because you have a selfless person in Jimmy Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a selfish person in what's coming in. Right. It's all about me. See, Jimmy Carter was concerned about Habitat for Humanity.
Right.
He's building people homes, and he was concerned about, even though he was a rich guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you listen to what he did, he shared his wealth with the people in his community. That's the part of giving, living the tenets of the Bible.
Well, he was, he's like any man. He wasn't perfect.
No, he wasn't perfect.
But there was some goodness there, some values, some integrity, and
everything was on the upscale, not the downscale.
Did you guys look at his funeral today a little bit?
Well, my wife and I were gonna taped it so we could go sit down and we were busy this morning. But
I left a little early, but it was a very good tribute to him.
Yeah.
Very good tribute by various people that were sitting in the stands and his grandkids and all. They just spoke 100% highly of him, and this is not a political thing, so I won't say.
Right. Well, no, but
I mean,
just something in history.
He probably couldn't conceive what. I mean, he considered him weak, as opposed to being he was
very strong.
Oh, he was very strong.
Strong in his faith, but he's considered weak on this side. It's like you missed the whole point.
The thing he wasn't. He wasn't a political person.
No.
And see, it's hard to find that individual today, because if you're not, he stood on his own merit, and he wasn't. He called his own shots. He didn't have any packed group behind him to push him this way or that way.
And his kids, his grandkids, all of those kids just spoke incredibly well of him and what they did, but all of it was because of his faith.
Well, he was very faith-based.
Yes.
And
the real faith-based.
Yeah, that all came out. He didn't produce a Bible that someone's going to buy.
And he treated everybody with humanity.
Yeah.
And that's all we asked for. I mean,
well, it should be a reminder to all of us, and that's why I don't want to see it lost in the rigmarole of what's.
It's already lost. In Oregon, they've already sent out a notice, and it's a shame.
What notice? What was it?
That the brown people, they said we go to the churches and see any brown people, get their numbers and addresses, and we're gonna find out if they're legal or not. And if they're not legal, we're gonna report them and then take over their properties, and we're gonna move in. And this is how people feel emboldened to have that kind of attitude. But you know what? The one thing I
What
know.
goes around, come around.
That's right. What goes around comes around.
Melania may have to go home.
Well, that was my first thought when you said that. But,
She may have to leave.
I ain't got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I
was born here. So.
We were born here, and I ain't going nowhere.
But my mother taught us well about the South, so
Yeah.
how she was treated, me and my sister.
And they planned way back in the Reagan days to take over the Dixie. I don't know, maybe they used to tell you about the Dixiecrats.
right.
That was the Republican Party that lived in the South.
Right.
Who then, when the civil rights, they went to became Republicans.
Yeah.
And like I said, the tragedy of our political system is that only 6 or 7 states can control who gets elected because of electoral. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
But anyway, no. But
it is.
But Brenda, I sure appreciate you sharing with us your life and the things that you're doing, because you are you're a good example. You're a good example for my children, and you're a good example for a whole lot of people that come before you. You're a good human being, and I never regret I never regret that I made that choice.
It's always funny. People, sometimes people try to take advantage of other people, but they don't try to take advantage of me because it's actually no fun.
What do you mean? Explain that. I only.
It's because I'm so easy. I'm so easy, so it's like,
there's no game in it.
No game in it, and I'll just leave her alone. You really know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, that's probably healthier,
because I don't think evil or negative I don't think like that.
Right.
So the first time I meet a person, you're a good person until you show me differently, and then the show has to be a lot.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a lot to convince you.
Yeah, somebody steal from me, so maybe they needed more than I did.
Right.
That's
your
the kind
first
of
reaction is not payback and vengeance.
Maybe they needed it.
You know what? They need it worse than me.
Yeah.
And I think it's so much healthier.
It really is healthier. I can tell you, as opposed to guarding everything.
Right.
Don't want anybody to take any.
Looking to always get somebody back.
Yeah.
Something. Not going to get one hand over on me. Well, I know. I think I talked to Alton about this, but after the election, I was pretty down. And it took me a few days, and I kind of lost my faith in humanity for a minute. And my wife told me, we have to realize that not everybody thinks like us. And I said, okay, that helps and stuff. And so I've just finally decided that, what, I'm not going to look at every single person in a suspicious way, saying, well, I know what you did, and now you're going to pay for it, and
No, they know.
And I find no value in that. So I just basically am trying to be friendly to everybody, not judge people, and I know I have family members that voted that way, and I can't let that divide me. It's still my family.
The sad thing about it is that he's already shown them.
I think so.
He's already shown them exactly what he's going to be doing.
Right.
And let me tell you, the ironical thing about it is when Elon Musk and Vijay Ramaswamy said in writing, the American people are lazy and they're not very bright. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, and that's what they used to say about black folks. Mm-hmm. Okay, now you got somebody that lives outside who's not from this country, and they're telling white folks how they think about what they think about white folks. That's amazing.
Well, I know that every time, I've kind of tuned way back on watching any kind of news.
I don't watch news anymore.
I might see a headline and I say, nope, not going to go there. No. Or somebody will start talking about it.
I used to watch, I used to watch the two cables, CNN.
Right.
And CNN disappointed me all the way.
I know, you've told me that.
They enabled Trump all the way down the line.
Right.
They were even put it like this. They were even worse than Fox News. Okay, they gave him the legitimate thoughts.
Well, they sold out. And they drank the Kool-Aid, and that's what it is. But it's going to happen the way it's going to happen. And like you said about like Martin Luther King Jr. said about the universe bends in the arc of goodness.
Right.
And I have to believe that. That's, maybe it's naive, but that's what you have to always go back to.
Because they're evil, I'm not going to be evil.
Right, exactly.
I'm gonna like my aunt Willamette used to say, learn to take the good side. No matter if they hit you with the bad stuff, you stand up and you stay on the right side. Mm-hmm. Okay, because it'll work out in the end.
Yeah, I mean, you have to believe that.
Yeah.
And and that's what I think your faith has probably taught you, and made it such a part of your fabric that it's why you can be, as you say, kind of easy. I'm not going to get riled up on it. I'm not going to be vengeful. I'm not, because that's not really living like Christ.
Life is in cycles, and I was telling one of my daughters, I said, "Do you realize that this is the second time around for this whole mess. Mm-hmm. I grew up with this mess. Mm-hmm. Now it's come all the way around, and what happens is that people who don't educate themselves about what goes on in their history, they don't realize in their history what goes on. Then they're going to make the same mistakes that people made before. And the ironical thing about this country, and they talk about us black folks like we dogs, we ain't got no sense. But do you believe that the one thing I know for sure, that damn near every invention that is relevant in the United States was invented by a black person.
Right.
Afro-American.
Right.
So
I know when we were on a motorcycle trip and we were in Missouri and we saw this museum, the George Washington Carver Museum, and we went in and they had all kinds of exhibits and movies and all kinds of, and I mean, I learned so much about how advanced he was in the inventions and the things that he was doing What's that?
Who was that?
George Washington Carver.
Okay, and he was my cousin. I mean, you hear me talk about my cousin Carver, right?
Right.
Okay, his mother was an intimate friend with George Washington Carver when he was at Tuskegee.
Okay.
And do you know?
Is that where Carver got his name?
That's right.
I figured that. Yeah.
Okay, and do you realize he was a eunuch?
Yeah, you've mentioned that
before. Not too many people talk about it.
No, they don't talk about it.
But he was a eunuch.
Yeah.
And if you ever heard his voice,
no, I never did. Yeah.
Very high voice.
Wow.
And he got castrated when he was a little boy because the white folks took him in.
Well,
and
fear.
Fear that he was going to mess with your daughters.
Yeah.
I mean,
reproduce.
I mean, and nowadays they're reproducing like maggots.
I know, like I told you, my daughter went to Grandma and down in Louisiana. Right. So me and my sister, we were I think we moved her in, so we had some time off. Yeah. So let's drive down and see. And
from here?
No. And when we were in Louisiana.
Oh, you were in Louisiana. Let's drive down to Grambling. Yeah.
We drove her back to school, but we had time before we had to go back home. Okay. Stuff like that. So let's go to Louisiana and let's see what it's all about. And honestly, there was the black side of the street and the white. It's like you hear of it, but when you see it, and so the white people that stayed there had beautiful houses, almost mansion, and then you look at the shacks on the other side. The shacks. So we, like an idiot, we said, "Oh, let's go to a plantation," because we like naive people go, So we went into a black plantation, and on the wall it had the history of the niggers and the niggers that they have. Yeah. They got into. Oh well, yeah, we bought this black lady because she was stock and stuff like that, so she should be good in the field. And then this lady, she'd make a good, nanny. No, she didn't call them a nanny, but for the babies and stuff like that. So. They went to the auction, and how they described how they picked out the Negroes and then the Negroes, the men that they could be in the field and stuff like that. And I'm going, I said, Tricia, they're talking about our people, and that's why my mother made sure that we never forgot about Juneteenth, because she was there when Juneteenth became not a national holiday, when the blacks were free. Right. So we knew about that all of our lives,
And see, I never learned about that till recently, and it's like, I always feel like I was cheated of that historical fact. It wasn't presented.
Well, because that's that's what the majority population
Right.
doesn't want people to know the evils.
Yeah, my mom worked in a cotton patch.
Okay, the evils of the time. I remember when I was going to Tuskegee, I rode the back of the bus.
Yeah.
I was on my P's and Q's. Okay.
And I remember that one time I got on the bus and sat up front, and everybody went like this. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know what everybody was reacting to. But I said, well, this is where I want to sit.
Yeah.
And so the bus driver, nobody kicked me off back in those times,
Okay.
but they were just, my cousins were, you're going to get us hung.
Yeah.
That's right.
Back in Texas, you're going to get us hung. I
Now,
said,
I would like perspective. What year was that?
well, I had to be 5 or 6, so 1950 something.
Okay.
So I was,
Yeah.
I was born in 49.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is back in Texas. Now,
Yeah.
Texas is a little bit behind California.
Yeah.
Well, I know that. I know that.
Because I was a California cousin. That's why I didn't know, A, where to sit on the bus, and B, where to sit in the movie theater.
Right.
Because when I went to the movie theater, we got our popcorn, me and my brother, we sat down front.
Yeah.
And they go, oh my God, we got to sit up there.
Yeah.
I said, but we don't want to sit up there.
Yeah.
We would eat our popcorn and
Yeah.
just like we do at home.
Yeah, but see, when you left, they got in trouble. Yeah.
Well,
so
I mean, like I said, no one bothered us, but we didn't know the rules. We went to the candy store, and
Yeah.
I'd pick out, I had 10 cents. So everything cost a penny, so I had 10 things to pick out. In my little bag, I want these, and I want one of these, and stuff like that. And I gave them my 10 cents and walked on out the door, and my cousins were going,
You heard of Emmett Till, right?
Emmett Till story, yeah.
Yeah, came from Chicago,
Yeah.
went down and looked at the white lady,
Yeah.
and got killed.
Yeah, that killed
no,
for it.
matter of fact, they have the Emmett Till Foundation
Yeah.
thing is coming.
He was the same age at 40. He was the same age I was because I was selling Jet magazines.
Oh,
And
when it happened.
when it happened.
Me and the girls went to the Black History Black Museum in Washington D.C.
Mhm.
and
It's the National Museum of
African American.
Americans,
There you
right.
go. We went down there and saw them, saw the Emmett Till,
Mhm.
and how they laid him out because his mother refused to close the casket.
Right, I remember. Yeah, I remember
And
the
she
story.
destroyed
Yeah.
the casket because they beat up her son and killed him because he looked at the little white girl that was
White lady. And she years later she recanted. She said she lied.
Mhm.
I think anyway, but he puts on a story every time, and this is coming on the 17th. So 17th it'll be. I think it's going to be at the Overland Library.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually very. I'll probably hope to get my daughters to go just visit. But I took my daughter to the African American Museum in Washington D.C.
Right.
and I say, here's how it all started. Because they had the slave ships and the music going and just a motion picture of it, and it's like okay. And then they went up here and they saw this and they saw Emmett Till and they saw this and then I turned around and told them. I said, but guess what? You can do anything in life you want to. Your grandfather fought Joe Louis. He was the first guerrilla sergeant of an integrated platoon, and your other grandfather on the other side won a gold medal in the Olympics. Nothing in this world you can achieve. And when they see stuff in person like that, they
It gives them,
give them pride. They got a story. I mean, they got a real story, not something that's read out of a book. They saw the story.
firsthand,
Yeah. And so that was
primary source.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, I call it a legacy trip.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out why are we doing all of this. I said you need to know stuff.
You need to know.
And see, then my history starts with my father, and that's I didn't have any grandparents. I had my one grandparent, but he had he had his own family. Okay, I didn't have a pawpaw. You know what I'm saying? And on either side, because he had four kids of his own, and he didn't have no time for me. But I learned, the one thing that I learned that the stock that my mother come from, and I talked to my cousin Alton Jr. This is very smart people. Yeah, very smart people, and we don't know if they're Jamaican or Haitians, but they're very, very smart people, and they were entrepreneurs, and they lived, and they went back and forth between Buffalo, New York, and Union Springs, Alabama, Tuskegee, Alabama.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, I guess I need to shoot off.
All right. Well,
Okay.
Not sure what else.
I'm glad we had a second time to bring in the
Yeah. I appreciate
church.
it.
How important it was.
Thank you so much, Brenda, for being a guest and very very insightful information.
Good.
Okay.
I'm
All
off
right.
the hook for a while.
What's that?
I'm off the hook for a while.
We won't call you back until you're ready.
We'll call you back.
You let us know.
Yeah.
Our lines will be open.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well, that's-
Peace out, everybody. Good
Oh,
seeing you.
oh,
Larry
no.
and Al,
Well,
Search
he-
for Truth. Those of you that are out there listening, subscribe to our page so that you can get the notifications of when we're going to record again.